Welcome back to the Achilles channel, everyone. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about Israel and their situation and what's happening over there. There's been a struggle in that part of the world, since the beginning of time. But what's happening now really began after World War II, and the powers that be carved out a place in the Middle East, in Israel, for the Jewish people. And this did not go over well with the surrounding countries, Muslim, Islamic countries. And they vowed to destroy Israel ever since. They all ganged up on Israel in what was called the Six-Day War, and Israel ended up kicking their butts back to their own countries, and they ended up gaining some ground, some land. Gaza and a couple other places, and so there's been an all-out, really an all-out war on Israel since then, and it's never stopped. It's always, there's been ceasefires and treaties and peace treaties and peace agreements and all of this, but really all they do that for is so that the Palestinians and whoever, Hamas and Hezbollah, can just rearm. That's all those ceasefires were for, so that they could rearm. Well, everybody's been pressuring Israel to give up Israel. Put it this way: the only way this all is going to come to an end is if all of the Jewish people either die or are removed from Israel, and Israel is given to the Palestinians and given to the Islamic world. That's the only way that any of this is going to end over there, and that's just the truth. You can't get over there, and you can't go over there, and you can't negotiate peace with these people, and it's never going to happen. We need to step into reality here, because that's not going to happen. Israel gave Gaza back to the Palestinians, and uprooted all of its Jewish people and all of its settlements, and they gave it back because it was part of a peace agreement. Oh, all we want is Gaza and this, and we'll be good to go. We'll live in peace. And then, Israel gives it to them, and it's not peace. It's just a step in the direction of what they want, which is Israel. They want Israel. The Palestinians in the Islamic world want Israel, and they want the Jews out. That's the bottom line. So Israel folds and gives it up, and then it doesn't work out for them because it never does. The Israelis, it doesn't work out for them ever. Everything they do is just taken, and then they move to the next step. Now they want another piece. Now they want another piece until it's all theirs again. That's it. This war will not end. It will not be over, ever. So then Hamas, I believe it was Hamas, took over Gaza and has been shooting rockets into Israel ever since. So the Israeli government, to defend its people, to protect its people, like our government should be protecting us here, but they don't. They decided to do a blockade on anything going into Gaza. If it's humanitarian, if it's food, it goes through. If it's arms, it gets confiscated. But they check every vessel that goes through. Sounds logical, right? Thousands of rockets every year get lobbed into, fired into Israel. And nobody seems to have a problem with that. People are living under the constant threat of rockets raining down on them. But hey, whatever, no big deal. So the Israelis, they put up a blockade, and they stop boats going into Gaza to search for weapons. Well, this certain group in Turkey, the Turkish radicals, rebels that are, Islamic terrorists, planned a little excursion. They're going to take a bunch of boats into Gaza, knowing that they'd be stopped. They had cameramen on board. They had clubs. They had metal pipes and knives and what have you. They didn't have a whole lot. They didn't have any weapons. But see, that was the whole idea. There was not going to be any arms on this because they had to look like the innocent. But the reality is they planned the whole thing. They knew that the Israelis would come in, and they did. When they came in and they boarded, they had paintball guns. They all had sidearms just in case it got out of hand. like maybe the entire boat attacked them, beating them with clubs and throwing them over the side might be a reason to pull your sidearm. That was the reason why they had the sidearm, just in case something crazy like that was to happen. I mean, they do have to defend themselves while they're trying to protect their country, which is ridiculous because, I mean, if they were coming into the United States, I'd want my Navy SEALs and I'd want the people protecting the border to have weapons to kill. That's what I would want. I would want my government to put weapons in the hands of our defenders so that they can kill the bad guy, not shoot him with paintballs. Do you understand how ridiculous this is? And so they played it to the world, and in the Israeli, the world is condemning Israel. The UN wants the US to condemn Israel. Barack Obama will condemn Israel. You know he will. It's all about him. He's a Muslim. No matter what you want to believe, Barack Obama is a Muslim. He's an Islamic radical in the United States of America. He's dropped the radical pose for the radical ends, so to speak. He's not going to tell you any of this. He's going to tell you the opposite. But, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, just wake up and you'll hear the rhetoric that they're talking about, what they're saying, what this regime is saying about Islamic fascism, Islamic terrorism. It doesn't exist. It's a figment of our imagination. But Israel is being bashed. So Israel's not allowed to defend themselves in any way, shape, or form. If they do, they are human rights violators. They're killing these poor people that are just innocent. These innocent people who are lobbing rockets into their country. Those innocent people. That's the problem. I talk to liberals all the time about this. I said, what do you want to happen? So Israel can't defend themselves. What do you want to happen? They need to give that land back to the Palestinians and the Islamic world. What do you suppose that all of these Jewish people do after that? And they never have an answer. Some of them say, I hope they all die. Who cares what happens? I don't. But they need to give that back. This is the type of thinking that we're dealing with. All of the people that hate Israel, this is the type of things that we're dealing with. Every time the Israelis defend themselves, it's a crime against humanity. Really? But that's what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with reality. We're not dealing with the truth. We're dealing with ideologies that want to crush the Jews. The Jews. They want to kill the Jews. I mean, geez, that just sounds so familiar. Who wanted to kill all the Jews? Oh, I think it was Hitler. So all of these people in the world have sided with Hitler on the fate of the Jews. Right? I mean, that's what I've come to realize. The Jewish people need to die completely in these people's eyes. The same rhetoric Hitler used. Wow. But comparing them to Hitler is wrong. Everything they want to do, they want to control us through healthcare, and they want to take over our corporations. They want to do all this. But that's not fascism or anything, or communism. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's none of these isms. It's none of them. It's just normal, everyday stuff. $14 trillion in debt. Don't worry, it's just normal. Backroom deals. Oh, that's okay. No big deal. What's wrong? What's the problem? Why do you have a problem with, politics, the way things are? I don't know. Because I think the way things are is what got us here. Don't you think we should change? Don't you think we'd start dealing in the truth? I do. But who am I? I'm just some dumbass on YouTube. God bless America.